Hello and welcome back to our Node and Express.js tutorial on Turbo 360. In the previous video we set up a post request and sent some post data from a form to our server. So that shows now how to create a post request, and we also have a get request. The other request types like put and delete basically are set up the same way. So in this video we're going to move on to some new material. We're going to create some dynamic requests and show dynamic data based on the actual type of request and render it on a page using our Mustache templating engine. So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to create a small list of profiles of programmers, and then based on a query input or parameter from the URL request, we're going to grab one of the profiles and then render it on the page, the Mustache template, using the data from our collection. So let's go ahead and set that up. So first thing we want to do is create a profiles object. And we're going to create a couple profiles with a key value of using the username as the key, excuse me, and the value is going to be the profile data. So let's say we have Dequan, that's going to be me, jobs, and Bill Gates. So let's say we have, this is not to suggest that I'm in the category of these other guys, but just need some names to work with. Okay, let's see. Okay, and then we're going to add one more thing for languages. So let's say JavaScript, Swift, and Python. And for Steve Jobs, it's going to be Objective-C, Swift, and C++. Bill Gates is going to be C, C#, and Java. Okay, I'll go with that. And so now we have a collection of profiles in here where we can query using the username as the key to fetch the profile. So it'll make more sense when we do it. So let's go down here and reuse this profile username route that we had before. And instead of just spitting the parameters back out, let's grab the profile from the profiles object using the username as the key. And then we can just return that as the JSON response. So we have three usernames, Dequan, SJobs, and B Gates. So let's try it out and see. Let's see here, and sample project. Okay, so let's try it out and see if we can get the profile from this collection using the username parameter. Okay, we're getting an error here. Profile has already been declared. So that's because I did it over here. So let's go with current profile, excuse me. Okay, and that should take care of that problem. So now let's go ahead and go to localhost 3000 and then profile and then Dequan. And here I am. Dan Kwan, company self, and languages. And then if I do Steve Jobs, there it is, and then B. Gates, and there it is. Excellent. So now that we've confirmed that this works, let's do one quick piece of error handling. If current profile doesn't exist, we should return a JSON confirmation that indicates that something went wrong. So fail, and then message. And then profile, username, not found. And that should be a pretty good error message. And we should also put a success confirmation here just to be consistent. Okay, so now if I do that, we have our success confirmation, we have our profile data, and then we can type in some other name, LeBron James, and profile, LeBron James not found. Very good. Great, now that we've confirmed that this works, let's go ahead and render this data in a template instead. So if we open up our profile mustache template, we have the name, right? And that is currently in here, so that's good to go. Let's say company, and then let's render that company, and then let's render the template rather than just this raw JSON. So let's get rid of that, and let's do res.render. And we want to render the template, and then we pass in the data current profile. And the current profile has the keys that corresponds to these placeholders right here. And then if I reload, well, it's going to say not found, but if I do my name, there it is. And then that's Jobs, so forth and so on. B. Gates. Now you may have noticed that each profile now has an array of languages, which we have yet to render in here. So let's go ahead and get that showing up. So if we go to our template now, the question then becomes, how do we loop through an array using the Mustache templating engine? So let's go ahead and set up a section here called languages. And then let's create an ordered list where we can loop through the array of languages. So the way you loop through an array in the Mustache templating engine is you grab the array like that, and then we add a hashtag in front of it, and then we close it like that. And then that will loop through the array of languages. And then that's just an array of strings. So what we can do is inside here, we do double braces, and then a period, which indicates to just render the string as is. So if we reload that, we should see C, C#, and Java. What I forgot, however, is we want to put these inside of an li tag. So that is my fault. Let's take care of that right now. And so now these will show up in li tags, and that's what we want. So this is how you loop through an array of strings. If the array had an array of objects, then we can reference each individual key inside the objects in here. I hope that makes sense. So let's try one of the other profiles. That's me. We did Bill Gates and then Steve Jobs. Great. Let's do one more thing for good measure since we've already went over the material. Let's add a form to the bottom here where we can add a profile. So a profile is going to have name, company, right? Name, company, and languages. Company. And languages. Okay, and then let's add the input tag, the submit tag, excuse me. Add profile. And that'll show up right here. And let's see here. Let's go back to our index, and we have no post handlers right now, but we probably have one for register. So let's send this. Now let's add it to the index. Let's see here. Let's do one right here. And a post for add profile. And for now, let's just have it return the raw JSON. So we grab the body from the request, just like we did in the last video. And then let's just return the JSON for now, just to make sure it's working. That's always a good idea, just to make sure the data is successfully going through. So let's see what we get here. So this is going to the add profile endpoint of the index. Don't forget that. So we want to send the action to the add profile like that. And then the method is, of course, post. So let's see what we get here when we do that. Elon Musk, Tesla, I don't know, Go Kotlin. Okay, how's that? Okay, so we're not getting the data back there, so let's see what went wrong. So we have type. So what I forgot are the name. So everywhere I typed type here, it really should have been name. So my apologies for that. And really the type is text. So my sincere apologies, but this is why we test early and we test often. And this is going to be type submit. So let's go back and try it again. So Elon Musk, Tesla, Go, and Kotlin. Let's see here. So here is the data being sent from the form to our post handler on the input route. And it looks good except for the languages. Bear in mind this has to be an array, and right now we're getting a string. So what we want to do is over here we want to grab the languages, languages equals rec.body languages, and then split it by the comma. So every time I separate at a comma, at a language, I do it after a comma. And so one way I can just sort of quickly take care of this is by doing it like that. And so I'm reassigning it to the parameters under the languages key. That should be in quotation marks, excuse me. So that it'll basically convert that into an array. And then it'll render the JSON as an array. So let's try it again right now. Elon Musk, Tesla, Go, Kotlin. And now we have it as an array, looking good. And I actually did forget one field, which is the username. So let's go ahead and add that, because we're going to need that. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it just to be sure. Elon Musk, Musk, Tesla, go, Kotlin. And there we go, because we're going to need that to access the profile in our follow-up request. So what we want to do now is we want to grab the profiles object, the collection, and we want to add the new profile to this collection. So based on the username, body username equals that. And then instead of sending back the JSON, what we want to do is just redirect to the profile slash username right here, profile username endpoint. So we can do slash profile slash and then the username. And now it should render the profile page. It should re-render this page with the new profile added, rendered to the collection. So let's try that right now. Musk, Tesla, go, and Kotlin. And then it won't look like it's actually reloading. It'll just re-show with the new user. But look at the endpoint here. This is the important thing to take note, is that it is now hitting the endpoint which is fetching the profile by the username key and then rendering that profile based on the current collection. So we can keep doing that. So if I add another profile, so let's see here, Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, PHP, and Java. There we go, and it worked. So yeah, this is a quick way we can show how you can render dynamic data using Node and Express and the Mustache templating engine. An important takeaway here is how to render loops and arrays inside of a Mustache templating engine. And we're also using some concepts from the previous couple videos and bringing it together to show how things can work as a greater project in a Node Express environment. So now that we got that working, that's good to go. In the next video, I'm going to show a couple more concepts specific to Node and Express, specifically what's called middleware, which I will explain in the next video. And then we will wrap up the series by deploying this project to a simple server, and that's it. So thanks for watching. I hope you got everything working, and I'll see you in the next video.